I don't know who you are or what situation you're in, but I'm assuming that you know Jesus, that Jesus has died for your sins, that you know that, and that you've accepted him, you've said sorry, and you know the grace that comes from that. What I'm talking about when I say let's get some godly habits is not so that we can earn our way to heaven, because there's no way we can do that. Jesus has done that. What I'm saying when I say get godly habits is, let's say thanks to God for what he's done through Jesus by behaving in a way that he will be pleased with. So when I say get godly habits, what I'm saying is do something that's really hard over and over again until it becomes easy. Just like driving a car, initially it's really hard, you've got millions of things to think about, but then when you do it over and over again, it becomes automatic. Your memory is a different part of your brain to your habit making part of your brain, or your habit memory. They're two different things. They did studies, the Power of Habit book talked about this study with this guy who lost his memory part of his brain, a bit like 50 First Dates, where this guy couldn't remember anything, but he could still function normally. He could carry out conversations, he could go for walks, he could have showers, he could do all kinds of things because this part of his brain that remembered habits was not damaged. So, I don't know about you, but my memory is terrible. But if we can create habits, then it will make our lives so much easier. We do make habits, that's the whole point. God created this part to make our lives easier. We don't have to do the brain power, we can do these things automatically. My daughter's playing the flute at the moment. Oh, it's so lovely to hear. I played the flute when I was little. She's actually playing my flute. I took her to a lesson and the teacher said, why don't you teach her? So I went home and I picked up the flute and I remembered. It wasn't the memory, it was the habit. I just picked it up and I just played it. And I couldn't tell you exactly where the notes are and what each note was, but I had played it over and over again enough to have it as a part of my habits. So when I say let's get some godly habits, what I'm trying to say is spend a couple of months, 66 days they say more or less, trying to do the hard work to get into the habit, and then it'll be easy and automatic. So we all have some things that we find hard to do, some things that we're sinning in more regularly than others, some areas of life. We all have ungodly habits and godly habits, and we can all try and work towards getting those ungodly habits switched into godly habits. Now the habits that I'm talking about are ways of thinking and ways of behaving that either please God or don't please God, and they are written throughout the Bible everywhere. And I'm talking about ways of thinking like loving, being compassionate, being wise, being humble or kind or self-controlled, gentle, being an evangelist, so telling other people about Jesus is a habit, and prayer, Bible reading, and trust, faithfulness, just so many things that God calls us to do can become habits in our lives, and we will be able to do them automatically if they're a habit. The hard part is transforming it from not a habit, just trying to remember to do it, to becoming a habitual, automatic kind of a thing. For me, I'm going to focus for the next few months on praying constantly. Paul tells the Thessalonians to pray constantly, and I just think that's an amazing thing. I would love to go about my day just totally aware of God's presence, the Holy Spirit living inside of me, and just being able to carry out a conversation with him whenever I see someone in need, just pray. And whenever I see something that I'm thankful for, just thanking God for it, and to have that constant, it's like a monologue but with God. I don't know what that's called. Anyway, that is my goal to become a habit over the next few months, and I want to encourage you to try and think of something that you might like to work on that is an ungodly habit, to be able to transform it into being a godly habit. So think of something that you would really, really like to work on. It might be really hard, it might be easy. It's up to you, and you know your strength and how much you can do it. Because transforming the habit, transforming a routine into a habit is not easy. It takes a lot of work and a lot of reminders, memories, and discipline. But once you do it a couple of times, it gets easier, and then a couple of times more, it gets easier. And then more and more you do it, the easier and easier it becomes as it gets solidified in your brain as a habit. So I'd love you to join with me the next few months. I'm aiming for Christmas to be able to do this. It's good to have a deadline. Write it down, get it into your RAS, like the goals videos that I've created, and work towards making ungodly habits, converting them to become godly habits with me. And I think that God himself will be just so proud of you just for trying and just for giving it your best effort. He really cares about growth and improvement. And he knows that we all come from different starting places, and we've all got different strengths and weaknesses. He's created us that way. And so don't be hard on yourself if you do find yourself failing or slipping up. But remember that there's more techniques that you can use in order to get that habit solidified. Things like not breaking the chain. So get yourself a chart and make sure you're plotting every day that you're doing the habit, and having reminders around the house is good as well. So yeah, I'd love you to join me in getting some godly habits. Thank you.